Hi, I'm Mike. Today we're finally at the last couple days of haying. We're moving bales out and back to the stack yard, but more importantly, we can finally see the end results, where we sit and how harvest stacks up. It's all today on Our Wyoming Life. Hi there, welcome back. Thanks for putting up with me. I've got glasses on today. It is brighter than heck out here. There's not a cloud in the sky and the sun is killing my eyes, so you're stuck with me in sunglasses today. A famous frog said it's not easy being green, although green grass is what keeps the ranch going from year to year. Whether it's the grass the cows are eating in the pasture or the grass that we harvest in the form of hay for them to eat all winter long. This month, we've been working hard getting all of the haying done, cutting, raking, baling, all that good stuff. Working around the weather, both rain and hail, and coping with all of it, most of the time on the fly. But as of today, we're pretty much done. Our help for this season, Dave and Tammy, they're right down there loading up hay. They're getting ready to head back to North Carolina. And although I might still cut just a little bit, get a few extra bales here and there, the fate of haying season has been decided. And with it, the fate of the ranch for the next year. Maybe the biggest rule with any livestock is that you can only have as many animals as you can feed. And when you often have 2 or 3 feet of snow on the ground, it comes down to what you're feeding during the winter. Here on the ranch, we count on our hay fields to provide that hay to sustain the cows over the winter, but it's never with a guarantee. For the past 6 years, we've had to purchase hay, 4 of those, mostly because of drought. But when we purchase the hay, it comes from an irrigated ranch about 200 miles south of us along the North Platte River, which provides them with water and enough to grow up to 3 cuttings per year. And of course, the price of hay is always based on supply and demand. So after buying hay for 4 years, we're in a situation where we probably won't be able to buy much this year. And that's going to require some rethinking, some restructuring, and some serious planning. But we'll get to that. And luckily, none of it has to be done today. So it's my pleasure to share with you the State of the Hay 2019. This year started with visibly one of the best hay crops we've had in years. Even early, we knew that the rain fell at the right time and the grass and the alfalfa was growing fast. An added bonus this year was the return of the yellow sweet clover, a biennial legume that produces abundant biomass. It's the most drought tolerant of forage legumes, which makes it perfect for our area. Because it's biennial, it also should return next year with even more mass as it tries to reseed itself. A number of the seeds, even if we do hay it, will reach the ground and lay dormant until conditions are just right to start the cycle all over again. Timing is the big thing when it comes to sweet clover, and we have to harvest it before the stems get too woody. And this year we were forced to start with our fields that had an abundance of it, taking advantage of the mass, but also putting other crops at risk. We started haying our biggest field, which was full of clover, 150 acres, and we managed to get it cut. While it dried, we moved down about 4 miles away to another field, and they were heavy in clover as well, so we got them cut and drying as well. This was early in the season. We still had some rainstorms to deal with, so drying took a bit longer than it does now. But while we were able to go back to that 150 acre field and get half of it baled, it was then that a hailstorm hit and changed our entire haying plan. That hailstorm lasted only 10 minutes, but completely took out any alfalfa and clover that was left standing. The only thing you could cut was just old prairie grass, and it was pretty thin at that. The fields that took the most damage were some of our best fields. They didn't have much clover, but so we actually put them off to the end, a decision that actually came back to haunt us, as the thick base of alfalfa in those fields was completely destroyed by the hailstorm. But you can't quit. So we finished baling what we had down. The 150 acres that had yielded 72 bales up until that hail finished out only giving us a few more. We finished with 88 bales on that field, giving us just over 60 tons, but averaging only 800 pounds per acre. A huge field with tons of time and fuel invested, and one of our lowest yields on average. Farther back, we got what used to be a wheat field, 50 acres years ago, and that field gave us just about 1,500 pounds per acre. And so we added another 30 tons from that, only 40 acres. Our dogleg field, a small 32-acre affair, came in with about 1,000 pounds per acre and another 15 tons. And what we call the creekside field, another 43 acres, gave us almost 2,000 pounds per acre and another 40 tons. So after the hailstorm, we were left with about 150 tons of hay. That much hay will feed 50 cows for the winter here, but we still had a long way to go to make sure that our 150 head cow herd was taken care of, not to mention steers and horses and bulls. What we're left with to cut is almost 200 acres that the hailstorm destroyed, and a couple of fields close to home which avoided any damage altogether. A small 45-acre field right up by the house is traditionally our best producing hay field on the ranch, and this year it was no different. It created over 3,000 pounds of hay per acre, adding 70 tons to our total. We also cut another small area on Dave's suggestion and added another 12 tons to our hay yield and our winter reserves, driving the total number of cows that we can feed to over 75, more than half of what we need to carry our entire herd over the winter. But now it's time to make a decision. We have another 150 acres that's technically hailed out. Insurance will probably pay something on it, but they won't pay what it would cost it to buy hay in its place. So we made the decision to cut it. This field is divided into two sections, one on each side of the road, the ranch road, and we started on the east side. Normally, these fields are very comparable to the fields up by the house, providing about 2,000 pounds per acre. But with the hail damage, the east side gives us just about half of that for a total of 40 more tons of hay, and the west side, unfortunately, is almost completely awash, providing less than 500 pounds per acre and less tonnage than a field a quarter of its size. With all of these fields cut, raked, and baled, we're looking at a total hay harvest of 275 tons. Each cow requiring 3 tons of hay for the winter. All told, we have enough hay to feed 91 cows. But you add in 5 bulls, a few steers, and a couple horses, and that number actually goes down to about 80 cows. In order to maintain our current herd, we would have to buy hay, about 220 tons worth. Depending on the demand, we're looking at anywhere between 150 to 180 a ton delivered. Split the difference, call it 165, and that totals $36,000 worth of hay. We can't do that. So we start playing with numbers. Let's say we reduce the breeding herd size to 100. That allows us to get rid of a bull as well, and we'd be left buying 64 tons, or a little over $10,000 worth of hay. We can also look at reducing the length of feeding. We can look at feeding more straw, adding more supplement. Unfortunately, we can't control the weather, so that could actually come back and bite us in the butt, but that's part of the game. The point is that there are other options as well, and we don't have to make up our minds today. The calves are already here. The ranch's paycheck for this year is already practically set, and we won't start feeding until November at the earliest. Still, I'd be lying if I said it wasn't just a little bit stressful. I always say that the cows are my coworkers, and although I have worked in some places that I wish that I could get rid of a third of my coworkers, when I look at our herd, there isn't a single cow that I don't want here on the ranch. The hail made a huge difference this year, cutting into harvesting, and one plan that we have is to actually perform some new soil tests, comparing high yield fields to those with low yields, and finding the difference in the soil structure and what we can do to correct any issues. Long story short, the herd will be reduced. We thought we were going to have to do it last year. We managed to avoid it, but this year it's written in the stars. And it's not really a bad thing. It's the ebb and flow of ranching. We get a chance to adjust the herd, play with the genetics, and hopefully we come out a little bit better in the end. I know for a fact that through adversity comes strength. And you don't develop courage by being happy every single day of your life. You develop it by surviving difficult times and challenging hardships. So I say, there's not much we can change at this point, so bring it on. Thanks for being here with us. Be sure to subscribe and continue to explore the ranch life and escape the ordinary. Until I see you again, have a great week, and thanks for joining us in Our Wyoming Life.